I immediately recognized the prisoner locked in the cage was actually the great general who once led countless victories. Without a second thought, I sold the only big black pig at home, took the silver, and ran to the jailer saying, "I want to buy this prisoner to use for breeding." The jailer looked me up and down, noticing my round figure and thinking of the emperor's order to humiliate the general. He readily agreed to the deal, but as I got closer, I found that the general's legs couldn't move. I muttered under my breath. Cheap things are never good. Still, I clenched my teeth and effortlessly picked him up. Looking at his frail body, I could only treat him like a father and take care of him. In truth, I bought him just to repay a debt. 9 years ago, he lost an arm saving me. If not for him, I would have died in the chaos of war. Now that he's a prisoner, I couldn't just stand by. I was once a child bride. My husband died in battle 9 years ago. I raised 3 daughters alone. Life was extremely tough. I thought saving him was just temporary, given his past status. Surely friends or relatives would come for him. But after asking around, I learned his entire family was gone, so I had no choice but to have my daughters call him Father. That night, I was getting ready to sleep in the next room, but the children started questioning why I wasn't sleeping with him. Under their strong insistence, I had no choice but to bring our big yellow dog to bed and placed it between us, just to give them peace of mind. The next day came quickly. As I carried him outside to sunbathe, the neighbor lady barged in angrily. Turns out our families had an old engagement. Her son was supposed to marry into our family, but she had been planning to take the house once we had no heirs. Now hearing I brought a man home, clearly planning to have a son to inherit, she got anxious and came straight to fight. So I gently said, whether or not I have a son, the house would go to her. But she instantly exploded, pointed at the neighbor and called her greedy, and broke off the engagement on the spot. My second daughter even grabbed a kitchen knife and drove the woman out. He stood there, completely stunned. But the neighbor wasn't done. She ran to the village chief to file a complaint, saying I was hiding a man to avoid paying head tax. That night, the village chief came to deliver a message, said I had to pay $500 extra in head tax. I was completely stunned, given our current situation. There was no way I could gather that much, but if I couldn't pay, I'd have to sell him back. With no choice, I promised to pay in 2 days. That night, my second daughter quietly brought out her savings, even with the whole family contributing. It still wasn't enough. Seeing this, he was overwhelmed with guilt. The next morning, I rushed to town to find work, but every shop turned me down. I dragged myself back to the village, thinking the village chief came to pressure me again. But to my surprise, he was beaming with joy and offered congratulations, said my husband, who died 9 years ago, was actually holding an important post in New York and would return next month for an honorary memorial. I froze thinking I heard wrong, but after he repeated it, I was overjoyed. Yet the next words out of my mouth left everyone speechless.